I can still picture that morning sunlight streaming through the kitchen window, catching all those tiny dust specks drifting around like they were putting on a show. It was blindingly bright that day, which felt so damn wrong compared to the heavy dread sinking into my chest like a stone. That first sip of coffee hit my tongue all bitter and harsh, not because I messed up the brew, but because everything else was turning sour. Brenda, my wife, was sitting across from me, flipping through the local paper, her spoon clinking against her teacup as she stirred it mindlessly, like her head was a million miles away. To my right, her kid, my stepdaughter, Karen, was glued to her phone, tapping away like it was surgically attached to her hands. We'd been hitched for 7 years of little highs, little lows, and a steady rhythm that had gotten way too comfortable. Nothing in those quiet early hours hinted at the train wreck coming my way, but the signs were there, tiny cracks splitting wider every day until you couldn't pretend they weren't real. Brenda and I used to have this easy warmth, chatting over coffee about dreams for tomorrow or cracking up at some dumb TV show. Now, it's all grunts, half-baked mutters about the electric bill or who's picking up groceries, with this thick, unspoken strain hogging up space at the table like an uninvited guest. That morning, as I nursed my coffee with a cautious sip, something in the air shifted, just a little nudge that screamed trouble was brewing. Brenda folded her newspaper real slow, setting it down so perfect it was almost creepy, her fingers lingering on the edges like she was psyching herself up for a fight. My gut twisted into a knot, tight and ugly. These past few months had been weird as hell. I kept telling myself it was just stress, that she was worn out from work or maybe I'd screwed up somehow. I'd have taken any excuse over the one I couldn't shake, but that fear stuck to me like damp clothes, whispering that the worst was already here. Her phone was the first red flag, waving disaster right in my face. She never let that thing out of her sight, not even in bed, always locked up tight, notifications buried like state secrets. Every time I walked into a room, she'd flip it face down real quick, like I was some stranger snooping on her life. Weeks of that crap turned me into a paranoid mess, jumping at shadows. I tried brushing it off, telling myself to chill, but the doubts wouldn't shut up. Finally, one night when I couldn't take it anymore, I shelled out $3,500, money I could have dumped into Karen's college fund, and hired a private eye, because I was that desperate for answers. What I got was the gut-punch truth. Brenda was texting her ex, Marcus, the same deadbeat she'd ditched after he tore her world apart with booze, fists, cop lights flashing, and court orders to keep him away. And now, she was picking him over me, lying to my face, and, yep, sleeping with him. So there I was, waiting, and that morning she finally decided to drop her bombshell right on the table. She shut the paper with a crisp snap, pressed her lips tight, and let out a shaky, "Brian, I've got something to say." Her voice wobbled, trying to play soft, but her clenched jaw screamed she was nervous as hell. My heart was pounding like a jackhammer, but I played it cool, the guy who's always got it together, or at least fakes it good. I set my mug down, the clink against the table sounding louder than it should have, and said, "Sure, honey, I'm all ears, go ahead." Kept my tone steady, hiding the chaos churning inside me. Karen peeked up from her phone, her eyes darting between me and Brenda before settling back down with a smirk that said she knew something I didn't. She's got that permanent teenage snark, a sneer that's practically glued on, but I ignored it, keeping my focus on Brenda. She sucked in a breath and blurted, "I'm gonna be gone for 6 weeks, out of the house." Her words landed hard, shattering the quiet like a brick through a window. I didn't say a thing, just sat there, trying not to let my face give away the panic. 6 weeks ain't no weekend at a pal's place, something major was coming clean, so I let her keep talking. I mean, she stumbled, "I'm heading to Marcus's, my ex. It's his birthday time, you know." Her voice quivered, but her eyes locked on mine, steady as steel. "I want to make it special for him, and I figure if I'm upfront about it, it's not cheating or anything." I almost laughed out loud at that twisted logic, not cheating because she's telling me. Shock slammed into me like a tidal wave, but I kept my cool on the outside. She was fishing for something, either my blessing or a blow-up she could twist against me, and I wasn't about to hand it over. "All right," I said, flat as a board. She blinked, thrown off by me not flipping out, like she'd been gearing up for a shouting match. I didn't yell, though, just hit her with the question eating me alive. "So what's the game plan over there, Brenda? You gonna cook his meals, scrub his floors, and warm his bed all in one go? That the deal? Or did Marcus blow his cash and need a stand-in?" A little bitter edge crept into my voice, sharp and dark. Her cheeks went red-hot with fury. "What the hell, Brian? Don't you dare make me sound like some maid or a damn prostitute, that's low, even for you." She stuck her chin out, digging in her heels. My throat went dry as dust. "Thing is, you've already got a husband," I said, real quiet. "Those vows we made ring any bells?" She shrugged it off, trying to look unbothered, but it came off stiff. "It's not cheating if I'm straight with you," she doubled down. "I'm being honest here, no sneaking around, so you can't call it betrayal when I'm laying it out plain." I sucked in a slow breath, forcing my face to stay blank. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught Karen staring, that smug little grin plastered on her face like she was enjoying the show. Made sense, she'd never liked me, always had a soft spot for her dad, Marcus. Then she opened her mouth and proved she wasn't just watching, she was in on it. "Mom's got her own wants, her own life," Karen piped up, her voice dripping with that snotty teenage attitude. "She doesn't have to stick around waiting for you to stop being boring or whatever." She rolled her eyes like I was the dumbest guy alive. "She's free to do her thing, you don't get to control her." Anger flared up hot in my chest, but I swallowed it down. "Karen," I said, firm as concrete, "this is between me and Brenda, our marriage." She just shrugged. "Yeah, well, I'm part of it too, like it or not. If I want to see my dad, or she wants to hang with her ex, that's not your call. And it's definitely not cheating if she's telling you up front." I took a good, hard look at Karen's face and spotted this cocky, rebellious smirk plastered all over it. Right then, it hit me like a ton of bricks. She wasn't just backing her mom's play here, she was flat out cheering on this whole damn mess. Hell, she might have even been the one pulling the strings to get Brenda tangled up with Marcus again. Those snapshots from the private investigator hinted that Karen had tagged along on a few of those little meetups. This thing was digging way deeper than I'd figured. Still, I played it cool, throwing my hands up like I was surrendering. "All right," I said with a shrug, "looks like I'm the odd man out here. If you two have already locked in this scheme, I ain't gonna be the guy trying to block the door. But listen, Brenda, if you're dead set on shacking up with your ex for 6 weeks, I've got some conditions of my own." Brenda crossed her arms tight, her face still twisted with that annoyed scowl. "Conditions? Oh, please, Brian, don't start preaching at me about right and wrong. You're not my old man." I shook my head quick. "No sermon coming your way. All I'm saying is, for those 45 days, we're done, legally split. You put your name on the dotted line, you're on your own, no cash from me for you or Karen, and I get to live my life however I damn well please. No strings." "You for real?" she shot back, her brow scrunching up. I gave a firm nod. "Damn straight I am. You want to run wild? Go for it, but I'm not footing the bill for your fling, and I sure as hell won't be the chump waiting around if you stroll back in. I want it all in writing. So if you're gone for 6 weeks, I'm a free man too." I swung my gaze over to Karen. "That goes for you too, kid, no more college money, no car payments, no phone bill, nada from me while this separation's on." Karen let out a snotty little snort, but I caught a quick flash of doubt in her eyes. "I can take care of myself. My real dad'll step up," she said, though her voice didn't have its usual bite. Brenda jumped in sharp. "Fine, draw up your stupid papers. I'll sign M." Just like that, with a flick of her wrist that cut me deep, Brenda tossed our marriage out the window for 6 weeks. My throat clamped up, but I forced a tight, easy grin. "Okay then," I said. "I'll get the lawyer on the horn." That kicked off something so ugly and messed up, so heavy it still crushes me to think about, that I can hardly wrap my head around how smooth it all went down. But man, I'd been plotting my counterpunch ever since that PI laid the truth bare. For months, I'd been stacking the deck, photos, texts, even some grainy video clips. My plan was gonna hit fast, stay legal, and leave M broke. If Brenda was dumb enough to gamble our life together on an ex who used to knock her around, I was ready to show her just how bad that bet could blow up in her face. By the next morning, the papers were ready. Brenda, cocky as ever, slapped her signature on without even glancing at a word. I saw Karen sneaking a peek over her shoulder, a smug little grin tugging at her lips as her mom scribbled away. Karen didn't have to sign jack, she was still a kid in the eyes of the law, 19 but not out of high school yet. The deal I'd cooked up covered cutting off both of them financially, though. My lawyer, Mr. Gomez, called it a weird setup but said it'd hold water. Brenda strutted around with this mix of gloating and fake toughness, totally convinced she was in the clear. Karen was right there, murmuring in her ear. "Go on, Mom, sign it. Brian's got no real play here long term. This is just him puffing his chest. He'll still be waiting when we're back." I caught that hushed pep talk from across the room, and my jaw locked tight. Karen's pumping her mom full of fairy tales, I thought, my gut twisting. She's the one lighting the fire under Brenda. It clicked all at once, their sneaky texts, the way they'd roll their eyes at me together, those nights Karen slipped out and wouldn't say where she'd been. She'd been nudging Brenda back to Marcus, and Brenda, weighed down by old scars but itching for that chaotic rush, just ate it up. "Brian, let's wrap this up," Brenda barked when I told her we'd seal the deal in court by the next afternoon. "I've got 6 weeks of freedom to get excited about, and you can do whatever you want. Win-win, right?" I kept my cool, nodding like it was no big deal. "Sure thing," I said, but inside, my head was spinning with rage and confusion. Half of me wanted to yell, "What the hell are you doing?" while the other half just slumped, knowing her betrayal was a train I couldn't stop. Brenda started packing her bags like a kid on Christmas morning. She was humming some tune, folding shirts and stacking them in this big OL suitcase. Karen pitched in, digging through drawers and chirping, "Hey, Mom, take that black dress Dad gave you for your birthday. Marcus'll lose his mind over it." I leaned against the bedroom doorway, arms crossed, watching this weird scene play out. It was like they were gearing up for a getaway trip. And in a way, they were, off to her ex's place for some screwed-up fantasy fest. The real kicker came when Karen piped up, "Chill, Mom. Dad's not gonna do squat. He's just pissed now. When we're back, it'll all blow over. And if he pulls anything, we'll just say he made you sign that separation deal." That's when it locked in for me, Karen was the one running this show. She'd been fanning Brenda's daydreams about Marcus, pushing her to dive in headfirst. Karen sold her on the idea that spilling the plan to me up front meant it wasn't cheating, and they could twist me around their fingers later. Her two-faced game left me stunned, but it sharpened my focus. I was done being their doormat. They didn't give a damn about all I'd done as a husband or stepdad. Time to cut the cord. Brenda glanced up and caught me standing there. "Got nothing better to do?" she said, one eyebrow cocked. "We're almost done, then Karen and I are heading to Marcus's. I'd rather you not hang around when we leave, no need for a scene." "No sweat," I shot back. "I'll just wave you off. That's as dramatic as it'll get from me." She huffed like I was some annoying fly. "Whatever." They rolled out that evening, lugging their suitcases. Brenda breezed through the living room like she was checking out of a cheap motel. Karen trailed her, grinning ear to ear, not even tossing me a glance, like I'd already faded from her world. I stepped out to the porch after propped myself on the railing, and gave a lazy wave. "See ya," I hollered. "Drive careful." Marcus's place is across town, yeah. Have a blast for 6 weeks. Karen spun around and yelled, hope you figure out you just screwed yourself big time. And poof, they were gone. The car peeled off, the house went dead quiet, my chest felt like a hollow drum, but my head? Crystal clear. I shuffled back inside, flipped the deadbolt, and grabbed the whiskey bottle to pour myself a hefty slug. I took a long, thoughtful gulp, letting that fiery sting crawl down my throat. All right, I muttered to myself, now it's my game. Over the next couple of days, I kicked into gear the plan I'd been piecing together ever since I sniffed out Brenda's bullshit. First up, I lined up a buyer for Karen's car. That ride was mine, registered in my name, paid for with my dough. She'd always griped about it anyway, whining, ugh, this color's not even my vibe. Well, guess what, kid? Problem fixed. It wasn't gonna be her headache anymore, 'cause it wasn't her car no more. Then I flipped Brenda's car too, the one she babied, the one she'd flaunt on Instagram like she'd earned it. Truth was, my wallet had covered that too. Now that we were legally split, she didn't have a leg to stand on. Next, I hit M where it really hurt, I cleaned out our joint bank accounts. We'd stashed a decent pile in there, cash for bills, trips, rainy days, and a fat chunk for Karen's college. I'd been the one piling it up, Brenda barely tossed in a dime here and there. In one quick move, I funneled every cent into an offshore account I'd set up on the down low. If Karen wanted to hit the books, she could beg her mom or her precious, real dad, for the cash. Yeah, I felt a twinge of guilt about yanking her college fund, but then I pictured that smug little smirk of hers, and it vanished. She'd cooked up this whole disaster, egging Brenda on to jump back into bed with a guy who'd smashed her face in years ago. She'd laughed in my face, acted like I was nothing. Nah, I'm not funding her school after that. She dug her own hole, and I wasn't about to toss her a rope. I also got the ball rolling to unload the house, my house, titled in my name alone. Deep down, I wanted to hang on to it for my own future, but for now, I made damn sure that by the time Brenda's 6-week adventure wrapped up, the locks would be swapped out, and she'd have zero legal shot at waltzing back in as my wife. Oh, and I yanked their phone lines too, all in my name. Maybe it was a cheap shot, but after the crap they pulled, cheap felt pretty damn good. About 8 or 9 days slid by, and I was living easy. I'd sip my morning coffee without that gnawing knot in my gut, no chest-tightening dread. I kicked back with an old flick, cracked open a book, even slept through the night without Brenda's phone buzzing with some shady 4 a.m. text. Then day 10 rolled around, and the phone started blowing up. Brenda hit my cell first, for maybe 5 calls in an hour. I let it ring. Karen jumped in next, firing off short, pissed-off voicemails that got nastier each time. Brian, answer, you jerk, she snarled in one. We know you messed with the money. Mom's card got rejected. Call me. I just nursed my whiskey and let M stack up in the inbox. I was through dancing to their tune. Eventually, Brenda tried the house line, I'd forgotten to yank the plug on that one. I sat there, eyeballing the old cordless as it jittered across the coffee table, screeching through the quiet living room. Finally, I snatched it up just to shut it up. Where the hell are you? Brenda's voice blasted through the second I answered. I've been hitting your cell. Karen too. I gave my whiskey a lazy swirl and kept my tone chill. Oh, I'm out here living my best life. Got stuff to do, you know. There was a beat of dead air, then she snapped, that's not cute. Why'd you gut our accounts? I got alerts, everything's gone, Brian. I let out a little chuckle, even though my pulse was thumping. What are you on about, Brenda? You signed up for a 45-day split. That means my money's mine to blow, and I'm feeling a Jamaican getaway. Needed some cash for that. She made this choked, furious noise. You can't just do that. Karen's college money was in there. She needs it, and we need her voice cracked as it sank in. They were flat broke, or damn near. Plus, I'd ditched their cars. Bet they'd figured that out by now too. What did you do with our cars? She asked, her voice wobbling. Sold them, I said, flat as could be. Well, my cars, technically. You and Karen didn't chip in a nickel. You're crashing at Marcus's now anyway. Let him hook you up with new wheels. Let him foot the bill. Brian, you son of a, I cut her off sharp. Keep cussing me out if it makes you feel better, but it ain't changing squat. We're done for now. You live your life, I'll live mine. Then I slammed the phone down. For days after, it was the same song and dance. They'd call, I'd dodge most, pick up some. Every chat was dripping with poison, name-calling, weak threats about cops or lawsuits, but Brenda had inked that separation deal. She'd handed me the keys to do whatever with my cash. She'd also set me up sweet for a divorce that'd land hard on her, especially with her affair all documented and dated. One night, about 3 weeks into this mess, Karen left me a voicemail that was pure rage, damn near off the rails. You slimy bastard, she screamed into my phone. You can't just cut me off. Think you can skip out on my college? I'll sue you, maybe for abuse or something, I don't know. Dad says we can get a lawyer to flip this on you, and you sold my freaking car. I can't even get to school now. What, I'm supposed to ride the bus like some nobody? You're gonna pay for this, Brian. That was her rant. That lit everything up crystal clear. Karen figured I'd keep shelling out, keep her in the cushy life she was used to, all while she played puppet master with her mom's affair. Probably wanted her folks back together, with me as the dumbass bankrolling it all. The nerve on that kid. I saved that message, insurance if she tried to sling mud my way. Any soft spot I'd had for her as a stepdad. Gone. She wasn't my blood, I'd never signed papers for her, and she'd always treated me like dirt. Now she'd crossed a line she couldn't walk back. Over those 45 days, I teamed up with my lawyer to fast-track a legit eviction. Brenda might try slinking back after her 6 weeks, claiming some wife rights or squatter nonsense, but not if I dotted every I. I slapped notices on the door, even though they weren't around, everything by the book. By week 4 of Brenda's little, Marcus birthday bash, the eviction was locked in. The house was mostly cleared out by then, my stuff either stashed in storage or sold off as I geared up for a clean slate. I'd called in a moving crew to haul out the last scraps of furniture that were mine alone. While the guys were boxing stuff up and loading the truck, guess who rolled up? Brenda and Karen, probably tipped off about the eviction I'd set in motion. They pulled up in this beat-to-hell sedan, Marcus's, I'd bet, that coughed and wheezed as it jerked to a stop. Karen flew out of the car, her face all twisted up with fury. You slimy son of a, she hollered, charging up the driveway like a bull. What the hell are you doing with my things? Those chairs are mine, that table's mine. I spun around to the movers, keeping my cool. Hey, fellas, don't get sucked into this. Everything here's in my name, bought with my cash or my credit. If they think something's theirs, they can hash it out with my lawyer. One of the guys, a big, beefy dude with a shaved head who looked like he could toss a fridge, gave me a quick nod. Karen tried to shove past him, probably itching to take a swing at me, but he stuck out a meaty arm and stopped her cold. Ma'am, he said, real firm, you can't come in here while we're doing our job. Brenda came barreling up behind her. Don't you lay a hand on my girl, she snapped, jabbing a finger at the mover. Brian, tell them to back off. This is still our place too. I cocked an eyebrow at her. Not how it works anymore. You signed those separation papers, didn't you? This house is mine, and I can clear out my stuff whenever I want. You got proof something's yours? Show me the receipts. Karen lost it, lunging at me. You can't pull this, you piece of trash. You owe me my college money. You swore you'd set me up, you useless. Her voice broke, half rage, half panic, as she swiped at my arm. The mover stepped right between us, a solid wall of muscle. Whoa, whoa, settle down, he said, giving Karen a no-nonsense stare. Another mover grabbed her shoulders, gentle but firm, holding her back. Her face crumpled, tears welling up as she thrashed. Let me go. I'll freaking end him, she yelled, all theatrical, though I figured it was mostly hot air by then. Brenda started screeching. Brian, you lowlife. I'll haul you to court over this. You're not paying child support. I shot back, ice in my tone, she's 19, and she ain't mine. I don't owe you a dime. Karen's eyes nearly popped out of her head. After everything, you think you can just kick us to the curb? Are you nuts? I jerked my thumb at the envelope tacked to the front door. There's your eviction notice. Wanna fight it? Take it to a judge. But don't forget, you two begged for this split. You wanted Marcus back, Brenda. You wanted your dad's place, Karen. Go live there for good. I'm not your ATM anymore. Brenda's face went beet red. This is why I ran back to Marcus, she spat. You're a frigid, soulless jerk. Marcus might have been a mess, but he's got heart. You just cloak your cruelty in all that logic and reason crap. Yeah, sure, I said, deadpan. I'm the bad guy. Never laid a hand on you. Never threatened you. Gave you a cushy life, car, house, cash for your kids' school. That's me being mean, huh? She didn't have a comeback, just glared daggers. Karen made another go at slipping past the mover, but he wasn't budging. Finally, with a flood of angry tears, she screamed, You're gonna wish you hadn't screwed us over, Brian. You'll pay for making us look like fools. I didn't bite back, just gave the mover a quick nod. He told M they had to clear out or he'd call the cops. With no moves left, Brenda and Karen stormed off, cussing up a storm. That junker sedan roared off, choking down the road, and I stood there, adrenaline pumping through me. It was a nasty showdown, but it had to happen. The fairy tale was over. They'd figure out soon enough that choices come with a price, and man, that bill was coming due. The next day, Brenda's new lawyer rang me up, trying to shake me down. He threw out stuff like abandonment and mental abuse, even threatened to chase child support for Karen. I laid it out calm and clear, Karen's 19, I never adopted her. If they wanted to play the she's still a kid card, good luck, but it wouldn't stick. I brought up the separation deal Brenda signed, giving me free rein over my money for those 6 weeks. My lawyer swooped in and tore their case apart in court. He rolled out the proof of Brenda's affair, pics, texts, all time-stamped by the PI, predating the split. The judge almost cracked a grin at how ballsy it all was and handed me the divorce on adultery grounds. I didn't owe them squat. Even he seemed to get a kick out of the train wreck of it all. Rough break, ma'am, he told Brenda, barely hiding how little he bought her sob story. Brenda went pale, like the weight of it finally hit her. Karen was stewing in the back of the courtroom, arms crossed, shooting me death stares. This wasn't the big, happy Marcus reunion they'd dreamed up. It was a total meltdown. The final ruling? Brenda got the scraps I'd left in the joint account, just enough to cover a couple weeks' rent in some dump or maybe patch up Marcus's clunker. Me? I still had the bulk of the cash stashed safe in my own account, no strings attached. 8 weeks later, word trickled back through a buddy, Brenda and Karen had shacked up with Marcus for good, but it wasn't the warm fuzzy family scene they'd pictured. Marcus, still a mean drunk, was apparently smacking Brenda around again if she even looked at him funny. Karen, who'd hyped her dad up, was stuck riding the bus, dodging whispers and side eyes from classmates wondering where her wheels went. She'd mumble, my stepdad took it, but nobody was crying her a river. I didn't get any kicks out of picturing them in that mess. Abuse ain't funny, but I wasn't about to play hero either. They'd picked their path, stomped all over me, burned every ounce of goodwill I had, and paraded their betrayal like a damn trophy. Now they were eating the fallout. The "should I feel bad" question got drowned out by one simple fact: not my circus, not my monkeys. By then, I'd locked in my own getaway. I'd snagged a partnership gig in Bangkok, something I'd been pitched years back but never bid on, till now. With my money freed up, I hopped a plane to Thailand, feeling this wild mix of relief and a little ache as I boarded. 7 years of marriage went down in flames like that, but at least I'd cut loose. A few weeks down the road, I was getting comfy in my new digs in Bangkok. The sticky heat, the jam-packed streets, and the wild, musical buzz of the city wrapped around me like some weird kind of comfort blanket. I'd snagged a slick condo with a killer view of the Chao Phraya River and threw myself into my new gig with a fire I hadn't felt in ages. My personal life? Pretty low-key. Sure, I had a couple quick hookups here and there, but nothing worth sticking a label on. I was still shaking off the emotional gut punch from everything back home. One Sunday morning, I was strolling through this crazy busy outdoor market, drooling over the street food smells, when my phone started buzzing. The screen flashed an American number, not one I had saved. Curiosity got the better of me, so I picked up. "This is Brian," I said, casual as could be. Dead air hit me first, then this shaky little voice piped up, one I clocked right away as Karen's. Hey," she mumbled, sounding nothing like the loudmouth I knew. A mess of feelings churned in my chest, part shock, part dread. "What's this about?" I asked, keeping my voice cool and distant. "I gotta talk to you," she said. "Please, don't just hang up." I ducked out of the crowd, finding a quieter spot by a stand hawking fresh coconuts. "You've got a minute and a half," I told her, sharp and to the point. "Say what you need to say." She let out this wobbly breath. I'm pregnant," she finally blurted, her voice cracking like glass. "And my dad, Marcus, he's losing it. Mom's pissed too. They booted me out, literally chucked me onto the street. I'm crashing at a friend's right now, but it's not permanent. I'm broke, Brian. I can't even cover, well, anything. I'm freaking out. I don't know where to turn. My brain spun like a top. Karen, my 19-year-old ex-stepdaughter, pregnant. A million questions slammed into me. Who's the guy? Some boyfriend, maybe a random fling. With her wild streak, it wasn't exactly a shocker. The surprise faded fast, though, replaced by this icy sense of, we're done here. She must have picked up on my silence. "Please," she begged, "you can't abandon me like this. I'll do whatever you want. I swear I'll never mouth off again. Just, can you spot me some cash for doctor stuff or rent or something?" That muggy Bangkok morning froze around me. I stood there, staring at the bright market stalls, the tourists haggling, the locals hustling. Memories crashed in hard, Karen's smug glares, her nasty jabs, the way she'd egged her mom on with Marcus, those venomous voicemails, the eviction blowout, her nails swiping at me. Now here she was, knocked up and ditched by the dad she'd put on a pedestal. A tiny piece of me felt sorry for her, sure, but the bigger chunk couldn't forget the hell she'd put me through. "Nope," I said, flat as a board. She sucked in a breath. "What? You're kidding, right? You're gonna let me sink?" I took a slow drag of air, steadying myself even as my insides twisted. "You told me once your mom could sip from any stream she damn well pleased," I said, throwing her words back at her, "and you'd follow her lead. Well, go hunt down another stream, Karen. I'm not your dad. I don't owe you a thing. You set this whole mess in motion, and now you're fishing for a lifeline from me." She broke down, sobbing hard. "I was just a dumb kid. I screwed up, all right. I didn't think it'd blow up like this. Please, Brian, you've got the cash." I cut her off cold. "Yeah, I've got the money, no denying that, but I've got zero interest in tossing any your way. You helped torch my marriage, slung every insult you could think of, threatened to drag me to court for abuse, and now you're begging for a handout? She let out this jagged wail. I'm pregnant. I'm terrified. I stopped her again. Karen, I'm done here. Good luck. You built this mess, deal with it. Brian, don't leave me hanging, please, she cried, but I'd already mashed the end call button. My pulse was racing, my hands trembling from the clash, anger, a flicker of pity, a stab of sadness, all tangled up inside. Betrayal's bitter taste won out, though. No way was I letting her waltz back in like the past didn't happen. That was that. I stared at my phone, letting out a shaky breath. Then I straightened up, shook it off, and dove back into the market crowd, hell-bent on keeping my day, and my life, moving forward. Her last word, please, hung in the air as the call cut, a desperate grab at me, or maybe real panic. Didn't matter. She was pregnant, and I was out.